Hey guys, this is Patrick Powers. This video is for Mobile Player Experience Week 2 within the August 2013 class. In this week we are talking about gameplay heuristics. So the first game, Tetris Blitz, is what I'll be briefly going over. Overall, the score is a 9, so it is pretty good, I would say, the overall gameplay. But nonetheless, I'll go through the areas or opportunities that I found within the game to be able to actually potentially improve it. So the first one is the player sees game progress and compare the results. Well, there is a point in the game that you can see the progress, and it's actually when you have the social feature of seeing your friends have more points than you or less points than you, but that's only on one screen. And anytime that I've ever played Tetris, there's always like a high score that I'm going after against the score that I currently have within the current game that I'm playing to try to always beat that high score. Kind of same thing as Galaga, the classic Galaga, where there's that high score and you're trying to beat it. Well, here's a screenshot. And what you can see is up here, you can see the score that you currently have. You can see the scores that you're getting with every drop of the blocks. The time left. There's nothing on here to say what has ever been your highest score ever. And I think that could really help to potentially, again, compare the results of the player to their previous scores potentially. So I would say that's actually pretty major. If you don't have any friends within this game and you're playing by yourself, you need to compete against something. And unless you have friends, you're really not. You're just competing to get more points to do it again. The next one is the player is in control. When you purchase power moves, and what I mean by that are these things. You can actually basically purchase these or have the ability to get these moves. They name them different things, but basically what they do is allow you to create almost like a power play within the game. For example, this one right here, this purple crusher, it will have a block about 4 wide and about 4 deep that just completely comes down, crushes anything below it, and kind of helps you kind of start over in a sense. But the game automatically does that for you. You have absolutely no power as to when you can use those power-ups. And if you can see, there's quite a few. They even tell you how many you have, but you have no idea when you're actually playing those throughout the game. And to be honest, maybe there's more strategic times that you can actually play those than when the computer actually decides to actually make that happen. So again, you lose that control, you lose that power, so I would say that's also pretty major within the game. Next, there are no repetitive or boring tasks. Well, when you think about the game, it's the same thing over and over. It's the same level, nothing ever changes really. You know, the boxes go up and there are some extra additional features within it, but it's literally the same thing over and over and over. In the classic first Tetris game that I remember ever playing, the background changed as you were getting to a higher level. The speed changed. Various things changed within it. But to be honest, this is a pretty repetitive game. They do try to capture that social feature to make you want to play against your friends. So again, there's no level up is what I kind of said. And maybe actually having various levels and additional things that could make things harder through the game might be worth it. So again, I found that to be pretty major as to something that they could really work on. So again, overall, fairly good, I would say, but some things that also could use some work. Game 2, which is Fun Run. This one had an overall gameplay heuristic score of 12. Again, still pretty good, so but in general, I do think there are definitely things that can be worked on. So, start off with, the game provides clear goals to support players' created goals. Really, you don't know the main goal of this game. You realize it's a race game, so yeah, you try to win the race. But then there's purchasing of things. There's the interaction of players with within the online scope of things. So maybe showing a tutorial right up front that explains the game, how to play, how the rewards are received, and how the rewards can be used could be very beneficial. Personally, I think that will grip someone into the game faster and allow them to navigate better and know really what they're doing. So personally, I do think that could actually really help. Second, the player is in control. The player is not in control in this game, really. All you're doing is running forward. The game automatically makes, and this is, for example, your character run. All you do is push this button down here, and it makes you jump. So you're just constantly running. You have no power as to going back and forth. Now, the whole goal of the game is to get to the finish line first, but potentially, for example, right here, I'm just running, and I'm being stopped by this rock. I don't know if in any way, shape, or form being able to go back or kind of move around might help, but there is no way to go back within this game, so you aren't in complete control of your player. Next is the gameplay supports the game story supports the gameplay and is meaningful. Well, ultimately, there is no story behind this, and something that I can compare it to is does Angry Bird really need a story? To be honest, Angry Bird just is you playing level by level, and you know the ultimate goal is to get the pigs to be destroyed with the birds. Even the stories are kind of silly and stupid, but nonetheless, it adds a level of something to the game. So maybe adding something to explain why you're killing your other characters and why you're using these machetes and saw blades and some other stuff to hold them from being able to move forward. Again, I don't find it being extremely important, but nonetheless, it could add to the overall gameplay. There are no repetitive or boring tasks. Within this overall game, it's the same thing over and over. What I would suggest is potentially having some kind of tournament style. You can practice so you can do it by yourself. You can play against users online, which is pretty cool. You can play against friends, but it's all within the scope of one game. It'd be cool to actually have a tournament to actually allow people to get down and, you have to win one, then the next, then the next. And then when you get to the very end, you just beat maybe, 60, 70, 80 people, and you won the entire tournament. So that might be pretty cool. They do have actually a really good interactive social feature to the game that works very well. So I think that could be something that could be huge, to be honest, within the game. So I listed that as something being major. The player can express themselves. This is something that I think is definitely lacking. It's not overly important, but nonetheless lacking. I don't feel they can really express themselves. When you finish the level and you're playing against these people, whether they're online or not, you just cross the line. And then you're placed on a pedestal, and there's no interaction again. Once you're done with this, you never actually go against these people again unless you go and find them particularly. So it'd be nice to be able to interact with these characters that you're playing with, and these are actually real people. And maybe it's trash talk, maybe it's kind of joking around, maybe it's, oh my gosh, I can't believe you just hit me with the saw blade. I don't know exactly what, but some kind of interactive feature where they can express themselves a little bit more to their counterparts. Maybe it's even within the setup screen as to when they're loading the game and they're gathering the people that you're going to play with, something within that. I do feel that it could ultimately help a user actually express themselves. So again, overall, this was fairly good as well. A few minor details that could change, a few that I feel could actually make a true impact on the gameplay. But that is it. Thank you so much.